Hey everybody, it's Dave. How y'all doing? This is the Meniere's Experience. If you like what you see, subscribe. Now, a lot of people talk about they're in remission or they haven't had vertigo in a year. And you can go into remission. Okay? And sometimes we really don't know why. Okay? Um, today somebody posted, hey, this is their 365th day without having vertigo. That's awesome. Okay? Um, Maybe you might jinx yourself, but that's awesome. And part of that post was she didn't know how. She didn't know why. And that's okay. And so there were a few people who were asking her how, which I don't understand that when a person's actually saying they don't know how. They did it. They just did it. And that's a reasonable case. Okay? Because that's happened to me. And I do basically the same thing I did 10 years ago. 12 years ago. 12 years ago. Do almost the exact same stuff. And that was before the surgeries. But I remember 2016 and half of 2017. Now, I wasn't technically diagnosed with Meniere's, but I was diagnosed with BPPV. So that's what we thought it was. And I was already on I was on, second ENT at that point. But I went a year and a half. No attacks, no vertigo, no hearing loss, no tinnitus. I don't know what I did. I take the same medications. Diet is the same. I mean, I've never gone, I've always done low salt for the last, 20 years. And try to do low carbs because blood pressure, diabetes, stuff like that. So I don't know what I did, but I went into remission. And then July 2017, it hit like gangbusters. Vertigo, at least 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, it was like, ugh. And I've never been able to get really back to that point without having some sort of a surgery. Okay? Like the labyrinthectomy. Even though technically I still do have some tinnitus. But the vertigo was gone from 2019. Not totally gone. I would get an attack every now and then. But the vertigo, basically I would say it was mostly gone from 2019 to 2023. Came back 2023. But now it's in my right ear because this ear's gone from the labyrinthectomy. And I had a sac decompression surgery last May 2025, and I've had one vertigo attack that whole time. Year and a couple of months. Okay? So for me, I have not been able to get back to that point, but still, I have the hearing loss, I have tinnitus, I have every other symptom. So, I mean, and everybody's different. You gotta understand that. And when somebody says they don't know, they don't know. No matter how many times you ask them how and word it differently, they're not going to change their answer. Okay? They're not holding a secret. They literally don't know. And I know people who have known what they've done and it's worked well for them for a while. But even that changes sometimes. And everybody's different. And sometimes people post things too that say, oh, this helped me get better, or this helped me put me in some sort of a remission. And like the person who was a few months ago was talking about bee venom. Me and them had a conversation yesterday, and we both agreed that we both were wrong, and we both were right. Nobody. But the person didn't put any warning labels in the post. Sure, in the comments they did, but comments get buried. Not everybody reads all the comments. So they should have put it in the post. And that was my thing about the whole thing. Because bee venom for some people, especially if you don't know, you could be allergic to it. And you could go into anaphylactic shock. Okay? I'm allergic to bee stings. Um, I don't generally get the throat closing, but if I get stung, my arm blows up like a whole balloon. I will get hives in other parts of my body just from that venom going through my system. Beeswax. I can't touch beeswax with bare hands, because if I do, I start getting hives all over my hands. And if I don't go wash my hands right away, that's when the hives will come in like a half hour. And if I go like this, then it's in my eyes. So yeah, I'm allergic to beeswax too. So yeah, you got to put those warnings in there. Now the bee venom works for this person, and that's great. And if you want to try it, you need to talk to your doctor. So, but that's working for that person. It probably put them in a remission. That's great. Somebody else was talking about an anticonvulsant drug, and I remember they posted it last week, and I was like, well, this is for epilepsy. I don't know what it'll do for Meniere's. And they were kind enough to comment about how it works. And I was like, oh, well, that kind of can make sense. Because there are medications that are, like propranolol was originally, is it propranolol? Yeah, propranolol was a blood pressure medication or something, but they discovered it helps with tremors. And I think nortriptyline was antidepressant, but it helped with headaches. So that happens. So maybe that drug that this person was talking about, could help. But in her original post, I don't believe she used she might have. No, she just used the name of the drug. She didn't say it was anti-convulsion medication. Which she did this post that she made today, which was awesome. And also said you should talk to your doctor. And she was going to talk to her doctor too again. But that's the thing. So when we're talking about people going to remission, yes, it does happen. And the way it happens is a lot of times we don't know. Like even beta histine, sure, it lessens the vertigo, but I think people still do get vertigo from time to time. Not as constant as before. But yeah, you can go into full remission. My friend Gina did for years. And then it hit like a ton of bricks. And she didn't know what she did. But if something's working for you and you're staying vertigo free and attack free and the tinnitus is gone and you don't feel that fullness, keep doing it. You could share it too. But, just to let you know that things happen and we don't know why. Just like Meniere's disease. In all honesty, I know people can argue with me about it. They really don't know. They really don't. So, there's still a lot of unknowns out there. But they will find reasons why and things like that very quickly, very soon. So on that note, I'll talk to you all later. Take care.